Are you thinking of buying a home soon? Well, we have what you need to know if you're interested in San Diego's real estate market.
That's right. Joining us now, live around the desk, is Jim Bottrell, founder of Jim Bottrell Real Estate Team. Jim, thank you so much for being here again. And I have to ask you, in a nutshell, kind of describe the real estate market in San Diego as it appears right now.
Slow.
Slow.
Yeah, the lowest number of sales in a June in my 20 years, by a bunch. There not a lot of enthusiasm for buyers. I mean, our average market price is somewhere around $1 million right now. Interest rate 7%. Not a lot of enthusiasm for buyers right now. Still, even though inventory is up quite a bit, not a ton of sellers, because sellers are still sitting on their 2.5% interest rates. Normally they'd be upsizing, downsizing. They're not doing that. I used to love my home. Now I love my interest rate. So they are dug in like an Alabama tick on that interest rate. They are not moving. They are rate locked, not going anywhere. On the good side, though, for a buyer out there, there are windows of opportunity right now, and there's a lot of houses for sale. So for the first time in a long time, they actually get to pick the house they like.
And not only can they pick, they actually can negotiate a lot more for themselves, including concessions and money off everything else.
Yeah. So a buyer, a smart buyer right now, well, there's certain things you want to do, but one of those things that they can do right now is when they can pick the house, don't have analysis paralysis, because the first time, we finally get to look at a house, and in the past many years, it's been, I'm going to buy the house where the seller picks me. All right, that's what they got. So now they get to choose, but they're getting a little bit of analysis paralysis. Remember, a good house that's well priced, it's still going to go. Don't think it's still going to be there in 2 weeks, so be decisive. Make sure you have your pre-qualification done. Do that ahead of time. It's no cost, no obligation. People say, well, I don't want to do that because maybe it's going to, lower my credit score. No, it won't. They think, well, what if I don't qualify? Okay. What if you don't qualify? A good lender, for no cost, no obligation, is going to say, okay, you want to be a homeowner? We can't do it today, but do these 4 things in this order, and 6 months from now, you're going to be a homeowner. And then you mentioned the concessions.
Yes.
Yes. A buyer can negotiate. Now, in the last several years, we've been negotiating up, right? Seller been negotiating a buyer up. Now the buyer gets to negotiate the seller down some, and you can get some concessions. You can negotiate the price, the terms, the concessions, so you can say, pay my closing costs, maybe pay off the solar, maybe buy down my rate, things like that. Now, don't be dumb about it, though. Don't say, okay, you just put your house on the market. Here's an offer for $50,000 under. I want you to pay my closing costs, pay off the solar. That's not going to work. So be very specific about what you're asking for. Be deliberate about it, and you're going to be in good shape.
And if you have a good real estate agent, you'll be able to do that.
That tends to help.
One of the things I've noticed is that houses stay on the market for a lot longer right now.
Yeah, we're in a market correction right now. So market corrections are windows of opportunity for buyers. There was a market correction in 2012. There was one in 2017. There was one in 2022, and we're having one right now. Market correction is not a crash, right? It is just a correction. So let me jog everybody's memory. Does anybody remember that in 2022, housing prices in San Diego County went down 15%?
Yes.
You remember that, but most people don't. I know why you remember that. But most people don't. And the reason they don't is because it popped right back. So market corrections are temporary. They're in, they're out. There is a window of opportunity for a buyer's market, which we have right now. They're usually rare, they're short, corrections are quick. And I will tell you that when interest rates come down, not if, especially watching what's going on between Trump and Powell, which has been pretty entertaining, but when interest rates come down, that window is going to close. Buyers will flood the market. There will not be additional houses for them to buy, and we're going to be right back to the seller's market that we've had for the last 15 years, with the exception of those 4 short exceptions.
Real quick, if you're a seller, what is your best advice right now?
Best advice for a seller right now is know your competition. If you were to put your house on the market, let's say 4 months ago, you were probably the only person, but today you're competing with 6 other people. Know your competition. Do not believe that an inferior house can't beat you. Maybe it was your house, best house in the neighborhood, that brought somebody in the neighborhood, but when they decide they want to live in that neighborhood, they're going to look at all the other 5 or 6 houses that are for sale. And then that buyer will choose the best house for the money. You can say, well, that house backs up to a street, or that doesn't have this. Don't think they can't beat you. They become the best house for the money. And then that's when it actually gets bad for the seller, because now that lower sale just became the most recent and most relevant comparable. That's the new value of your house.
That's a great point.
So I always tell the sellers, especially right now, it's hard to sell a house right now, especially where there's impacted communities, a lot of listings. And we tell our sellers, Do whatever you need to do to win the next buyer that comes into this community. Don't let an inferior house beat you. Sometimes it's get aggressive with your price. Sometimes it's offer terms, right? But get aggressive with your price or whatever it is you need to do before one of your neighbors does it for you.
What's your advice to buyers out there?
Buyers, well, I was talking about that. One is, don't have the analysis paralysis. Make sure you're pre-qualified. Take a look at the market, all right? Look at all the houses. Don't think that a great house is just going to be there forever.
But is this the time to actually buy?
Okay, yes. So
because they always ask.
We know interest rates are going to come down, and there's so many buyers out there right now that are saying, I'm going to wait until I can get X interest rate.
Right.
You and 6 million other people. All right, so my advice right there is buy the house today at today's price, because when the interest rates come down, there won't be additional houses. Buyers will flood the market. Prices are going to go back up then. If you want that low interest rate, you can still get it. Buy the house at the lower price today, right? At the interest rate, maybe have the seller buy the rate down for you. But when interest rates come down, you just refi to that lower rate. So you get the house at today's price, which will be lower. You get the lower rate. You marry the house, you date the rate.
Right, exactly.
Right, just like dating.
You can get rid of that date.
A better one comes along, you ditch the old one, and you get the new one.
I love the
advantage of dating.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for your real estate wisdom.
All right, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. No, thank you.
All right, we have more information on how you can contact Jim and his real estate team on our website, fox5sandiego.com. Just click the Scene On tab. Jim, thank you once again.
Thanks again.
We appreciate it. Coming up next on the Fox